Andrew Taylor Still was born on August 6, 1828, in Lee County, Virginia, and was raised amidst the rough-hewn landscapes of Missouri's frontier. He stands as a towering figure in the history of alternative medicine, having birthed osteopathy from a potent mix of personal tragedy, anatomical curiosity, and a fierce rejection of the medical orthodoxy of his time. The son of Abraham Still, a Methodist preacher and physician, he grew up steeped in both spiritual reverence and practical healing, influences that shaped his later belief in the body as a divinely engineered system capable of self-repair. His life's path, marked by stints as a farmer, mechanic, and Civil War surgeon, took a dramatic turn in 1864 when spinal meningitis and pneumonia claimed 4 of his children. This shattered his trust in the era's heroic medicine, with its reliance on bloodletting, purging, and toxic drugs like calomel and opium. Grief-fueled disillusionment drove Still to rethink health entirely, culminating in his revelation on June 22, 1874, when he declared the dawn of osteopathy, a hands-on, drugless approach rooted in the idea that aligning the body's structure could unleash its innate healing powers. His 4 major works, spanning from 1897 to 1910, chronicle this journey, weaving together autobiography, philosophy, mechanical theory, and practical guidance, each building on the last to cement osteopathy as a distinct profession. These texts not only reflect Still's personal evolution, but also mirror the growth of his movement, from a radical outlier to an established school of thought, despite relentless skepticism from the medical establishment. The autobiography of Andrew Taylor, Still with a history of the discovery and development of the science of osteopathy, first published in 1897 and revised in 1908, is where Still lays bare his life and the genesis of his ideas, offering a narrative as rugged and unpolished as the frontier he called home. He recounts his early years moving with his family to Missouri in the 1830s, his hands-on education in medicine under his father's tutelage, and his wartime service as a Union hospital steward, where battlefield dissections deepened his grasp of anatomy. The book pivots on the 1864 tragedies, losing 3 children to meningitis and a 4th to pneumonia, which he saw as failures of a medical system too quick to poison rather than cure. Still describes his epiphany a decade later as a near mystical moment, though he keeps its specifics vague, focusing instead on the core insight: the body, designed by a great architect, thrives when its musculoskeletal framework supports unobstructed blood, lymph, and nerve flow. He shares early successes, like curing a child's dysentery by adjusting the spine, to illustrate this principle, while chronicling the founding of the American School of Osteopathy in Kirksville, Missouri, in 1892, a bold move met with derision from doctors and even some locals who branded him a crank. The 1908 revision, spurred by a fire that destroyed the original plates, refines his tale, softening some of his fiercer critiques as osteopathy gained footholds. Yet it remains a passionate blend of memoir and manifesto, less about scientific rigor and more about selling his vision to a dubious world. In Philosophy of Osteopathy, published in 1899, Still shifts from storytelling to laying out the intellectual bedrock of his system, writing at a time when his school was training dozens and osteopathy was inching toward legitimacy. Here he doubles down on his rejection of drugs, lambasting pill rollers for treating symptoms while ignoring causes, and posits that health rests on the rule of the artery, unhindered circulation enabled by a balanced musculoskeletal structure. He frames osteopathy as a philosophy governed by natural laws, not just a technique, arguing that misalignments or lesions in bones, muscles, or ligaments disrupt the body's vital fluids and nerves, leading to disease. The spine emerges as a linchpin, its alignment critical to systemic harmony, a concept born from his dissections and years of palpating patients. Still's prose oscillates between blunt condemnation of allopathy and lyrical odes to the body's design, urging practitioners to master anatomy and touch over chemical fixes. It's light on practical how-to, focusing instead on convincing readers, students, skeptics, and converts alike of osteopathy's logic, a strategic move as he sought to differentiate it from both mainstream medicine and rival alternatives like homeopathy or chiropractic. The Philosophy and Mechanical Principles of Osteopathy, released in 1902 but copyrighted in 1892, marks a pivot toward the nuts and bolts of Still's method, blending his earlier philosophy with a deeper dive into the mechanics of manipulation. Written as osteopathy matured, with hundreds of graduates spreading his teachings, this work likens the body to a machine, echoing his mechanic days, and explains how structural faults throw it out of whack. He details how a shifted vertebra might pinch a nerve, how a tensed muscle could clog lymphatic flow, or how a misaligned rib cage hampers breathing, tying each to his axiom that structure governs function. Still introduces concepts like the fascia's role as a connective web and the diaphragm's influence on circulation, offering a more technical lens than before, though still not a step-by-step guide. His tone is didactic, aimed at students needing to understand the why behind their hands-on work, and he leans on engineering analogies to demystify osteopathy for a growing cadre of practitioners. The decade-long gap between copyright and publication hints at years of refinement, reflecting his busy leadership of a burgeoning field, and the book stands as a bridge between lofty ideals and the tangible adjustments that define osteopathic practice. Finally, Osteopathy Research and Practice, published in 1910, is his most applied work, distilling a lifetime of trial and error into a practitioner's compendium. Organized by body regions such as head, neck, thorax, abdomen, and specific ailments like asthma, dysentery, or typhoid, it showcases how he used manipulation to treat real patients, such as easing pneumonia by adjusting ribs or relieving headaches via cervical tweaks. Still reiterates that aligning structure frees the body to heal itself, recounting cases like a diphtheria cure through neck adjustments to boost lymph flow, all drawn from his vast experience rather than lab data, a nod to his disdain for allopathy's obsession with research over results. His style here is less combative, more reflective, though he still jabs at drug-based medicine as a lazy shortcut. Dictated late in life, the text offers a wealth of practical wisdom on palpation, leverage, and reading the body's subtle cues, making it a hands-on legacy for osteopaths. It's not a modern manual lacking empirical rigor, yet it captures still at his peak, a grizzled pioneer passing the torch to a profession he'd fought to establish. Together, these works trace Still's arc from a grieving, rebellious innovator to a seasoned sage, each layering onto the last to build osteopathy from a spark of intuition into a structured discipline. The autobiography plants the seed with his life story and initial vision. Philosophy of Osteopathy gives it roots with a coherent worldview, philosophy and mechanical principles adds branches of technical depth, and osteopathy research and practice bears fruit with practical tools. Through them, Still not only justified his break from tradition, born of personal loss and honed by anatomical obsession, but also trained a movement to outlast him, embedding his belief in the body's self-healing power into a profession that, by 1910, boasted schools, journals, and thousands of adherents. His writings, raw and resolute, reveal a man who saw himself as both scientist and visionary, wielding bones and hands against a medical culture he deemed broken, and leaving a legacy that reshaped how we view health's foundations. Thank you for watching. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button and stay tuned for more content on the philosophy series.